Guys, Muns here. On today's episode of All About Muns, we're going to be going through the conference finals so far. The first game we're going to go through here is we're going to go through the Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the Knicks. I feel like this is the most interesting conference finals we've had so far this year because the series has been very close. However, the Pacers do lead 3-1. I'm just going to go through the breakdown of the game so far. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of the game so far. I went through game 1 already when HALIBURTON went crazy and the Pacers stole game 1, and then there's been game 2, game 3, and there was game 4 last night. So in game 2 as well, that was a PACERS siAKAM game. siAKAM went off in that game. He had a huge scoring game. It was amazing on both ends of the court as well, and obviously HALIBURTON chipped in as well. Ben Mathurin chipped in. T.J. McConnell chipped in. That's what I like about the Pacers. They're a very good, well-rounded team, and the coach has been fantastic as well. When they went 2-0 up, I expect the Knicks to punch back, especially when they went away to Indiana, because so far the Knicks and the Pacers have been the two best away road teams in this playoff. Every one of the series, they've won most games on the road, which is strange. Normally it's the home. You normally play much better when you're home. However, like I said, in this series, both teams are actually much better when they're on the road. So in game 3, we saw the Knicks actually fight back, because I felt if they went 3-0 down, it was just I think the game it could have been a sweep. They went so basically what happened was, in this game we saw Karl-Anthony Towns finally came alive, and Karl-Anthony Towns is a brilliant player. However, he does silly things early in the games and he gets in foul trouble, and that leads to his coach benching him early in the game, which gives the Indiana Pacers a hand up in the matchup. Because when Karl-Anthony Towns is in the game, he's a very good big. He's not a physical big, he's more of a finesse big. He's very similar to Miles Turner for the Pacers, while Miles Turner don't get in foul trouble, so he plays more minutes. However, in this game, we saw Karl-Anthony Towns actually not get in foul trouble and actually play majority of the game, and he had a huge game, and that's what led to the Knicks actually winning this game and still a game on the road. So the series then was 2-1. And then I think last night game was the most pivotal game so far in this series, because I believe in the NBA, if you go 3-1 down in this series, that's a death sentence. So before the game, I made a prediction. I felt, when I was talking to my friends, I felt the Knicks are the better team, and I felt the Knicks were going to level the series. However, it didn't go the Knicks' way. The Knicks actually went down 3-1, and so far, Tyrese Haliburton and PACERS siAKAM have been outplaying Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. My big issue with this is because I remember Becky Hammond, the female coach, saying you can never win a championship as a small guard being your best player, and everybody killed her because she was referring to Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a fantastic player. He made second all team NBA. However, like she was saying, like I was saying as well, you honestly cannot win a championship ring with a small guard as your best player, like your undisputed best player. You cannot win a championship as a small guard as your undisputed best player unless you're Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the only outlier here, and maybe Isaiah Thomas from years ago. However, in this series, we're seeing you need a competent big to go along with you. The NBA has always been a league of the big guys, the power forwards, the small forwards, guys over 6'6", 6'7". You know what I'm saying? So if your best player, or maybe your joint best player, isn't a big guy, I just don't see you winning the championship with a small guard. Obviously, unless you're Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the only outlier here, and like I said, maybe Isaiah Thomas from the 80s and early 90s. So in this game last night, I was watching it very closely. Karl-Anthony Towns, as usual, got in early foul trouble, which gave the coach huge problems, because then he had to bench for majority of the first quarter and some of the second quarter, which the Pacers started really well. Tyrese Haliburton, like I was saying, fantastic player. Probably Tyrese Haliburton, probably the best player of the playoffs so far, along with probably Jalen Brunson and SGA. Those are probably the top 3 players of the playoffs so far. The question has been asked, is Tyrese Haliburton a top 5 player? I don't think he's a top 5 player yet. because you have to respect the guys that have done it for multiple years. The SGAs, the Lucas, the Tatum, the Doncic, the Jokic as well. And you also have people like Giannis. Like, for me, the top 3 players in the league, Jokic, Giannis, and Jason Tatum. Those are the top 3 players. Those are the top 3 undisputed players in the league. I'll probably throw SG as well in it as well. So top 5 would be Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Jason Tatum, and I'll probably throw Luka Doncic in that as well. When look at, like, those are the guys that have made multiple first team All NBAs in the last couple of years. You cannot deny their greatness. Those guys are they're great players. Although the playoff hasn't shown that this year, I believe you have to respect the guys that have done it for multiple years. Haliburton, he's probably my favorite. Haliburton is the best pure point guard in the game right now. He reminds me a lot of Chris Paul, but he's a better scorer than Chris Paul. He's more aggressive than Chris Paul. He has a sort of nonchalant look to him, where he just bounces the ball at his own pace. However, the way he calls out play, the way he's able to initiate plays is amazing. He does everything at his own pace. I love players like that who won't let the game come to them. They don't go out there and rush their shots. That's why yesterday he put up 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 15 assists with no turnovers. That's why I believe he's the best pure point guard in the game right now. There's no one close to him in terms of just pure point guard play, maybe apart from Trae Young. Trae Young is the only guy I see that's very similar to what Tyrese Haliburton does. But Trae Young also led his team to a conference final a couple of years ago, which I feel Trae Young is very underrated. But that's because of he's about 6'4", 6'1" at his best. In this game, I also believe the bench guys for the Pacers have been absolutely fantastic. You have guys like T.J. McConnell coming in, Obi Toppin, Ben Mathurin. He dropped 20 points last night, giving you valuable minutes. Like the Coach Carlisle, the Pacers coach, he goes 10 deep on his team. Like, you rarely ever see a team in the playoff, this late in the playoff, play 10 guys on good minutes. That shows the team spirit, team cohesion, and it shows the coach actually believe in the players. When a coach believes in players like that, when he gives them a chance, they always tend to deliver. That's why I like Coach Carlisle. And he's also been playing a little bit of mind games with the Knicks coach, Tom Thibodeau, saying in the press conference before games or after games, saying, "Oh, this guy didn't play. He's usually a very good guy." So it kind of makes the coach Thibodeau, the Knicks coach, think twice of what he's doing. I think it's a brilliant mind game, and I think so far Coach Carlisle has outcoached Tom Thibodeau so far. I know the Knicks coach Thibodeau tried to alter his lineup by starting Mitchell Robinson and then dropping Josh Hart to the bench. However, Josh Hart did still play valuable minutes as well, because what the teams were doing, because Mitchell Robinson was so poor at free throws, they were fouling him. They're called Hacker Mitchell. They used to do that to Shaq years ago. So they foul him, so then the coach gets to take him out of the game because he was so good on the offensive board. Mitchell Robinson is probably the best offensive rebounder in the game. However, he cannot make a free throw to save his life. That's why teams always foul him early or whenever he's in the game, and then the coach has to take him out. And in game 3 and game 4, the coach actually started him, which I felt would work well in game 3. But in game 4, obviously didn't work. They lost the game. And special shout out to Pascal Siakam. I saw people were criticizing him, saying, "Oh, it should be his career it should be better than what it actually is. It should be #1 option." The guy was undrafted. He was in the G League for years. He played in the G League in Toronto, their second team, and won a ring with Toronto. He was a very good player when Kawhi was there. Him, OG Anunoby, and Kawhi Leonard, and they had, I think, Marc Gasol as well in there. They had a very good team in Toronto, and he got traded to the Pacers, and they made a conference final last year. They also make a conference final this year. He dropped 30-something points in game 2. He won that game, and he also dropped 30 points last night. I believe the Pacers win this. I think it's going to be. I think Haliburton will win the MVP for the Eastern Conference Final. However, Siakam will have a good shot as well. It depends on how Game 5 and Game 6 go. My pick was originally the Knicks. However, the way teams are shaped out, 3-1 down. For some reason, I still believe the Knicks are the better team. But Pacers just execute their game plan way more. down the stretch. When Haliburton has the ball, everybody knows exactly what to do. He can either go for the 3-point, he can shoot a mid-range, or he can initiate the plays and get others involved as well. The Pacers are such a well-balanced team, and that's the credit goes to their coach, their GM, everybody in the organization. This is the NBA that the NBA commissioner wanted for years, because he wanted an NBA where teams, small market teams, can actually compete. He doesn't want the big market team to be the only people in the final every single year. Like, you see, the Pacers have been in the final in the Eastern Conference final the last 2 years, and look like they're going to make it again this year. Nowadays, teams actually have to build teams, unlike before, where you can just be a big franchise and get players on free agents to come to you. But now teams GM actually have to be good, build your team from the ground up, draft well, and then be able to identify talent and pay your guys the max money if they're worth the max money, which I think is much more better for the NBA in my opinion. And that's why this year I've actually enjoyed the playoff a lot more than I have in the last couple of years, because teams are evenly matched. There's the era of the super team is actually officially dead in the NBA, which is fantastic, because there was the while there where Cavs and Warriors were making it the final every year. Like, the regular season was just basically pointless. We all knew it was going to be the final every year. So I'm actually happy the NBA is like this now. And also, just a quick mention to Aaron Nesmith. Aaron Nesmith has been fantastic from the tree in this series, especially in Game 1, where I think he hit 8 threes in the fourth quarter to tie the game, and then eventually they ended up winning the game. And last night's game, in Game 4 against the Knicks, Aaron Nesmith was literally in Jalen Brunson's soul. Every single time Jalen Brunson had the ball, especially in the first two or three quarters, he was on Jalen Brunson. Honestly, he didn't let Jalen Brunson breathe. He was literally trying to get into his jersey. And when this screen was set for Jalen Brunson, Aaron Nesmith actually fought over every single screen, which was fantastic. I love when players have that defensive mindset and actually fight over a screen. It's just brilliant to watch, rather than just give up and let someone else guard your man. And that's why Jalen Brunson struggled. Aaron Nesmith wear Jalen Brunson down last night. And Jalen Brunson only had 4 points in the fourth quarter. You can see he was absolutely gassed. That's pretty much all for me today in terms of the Eastern Conference Final. I'm looking forward to watching Game 5 and hopefully Game 6 and maybe a Game 7 as well.